Are you struggling for consistency in your sim racing? Does your iRating look like a roller coaster? If so, we have good news for you. The way to get more consistent is to first understand what you're doing differently than the professionals. And VRS is the answer. With our competitive subscription, you will have the telemetry, setups, tutorials, and everything else you need to fully analyze your driving. Our data packs and the ability to compare your driving with the best in the world will show you exactly where to adjust your inputs, change your driving line, and shave seconds off of your lap times. And our powerful and precise Direct Force Pro wheelbase and precision pedals are being used by some of the world's best drivers. All these champions agree that VRS hardware is not just the best on the market, it's also priced well below the competition. So if you're looking to upgrade to direct drive and the best pedals in sim racing, VRS is your answer. If you want to get better, get faster, and make it happen sooner rather than later, you owe it to yourself to find out why so many people are switching to VRS. You'll be so glad that you did. Visit www.virtualracingschool.com and learn why the best use VRS.
Good evening and welcome back to round 5 of the DRSCCA Sim Series here at Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course. What a track, what a place and what a destination to be. I'm Matthew Duffin, joined by Charles Boschel in the commentary box tonight. We've got classes of GT4s, so many varieties of cars out there, and what a stacked grid it looks like we've got as well for this 5th and penultimate round of the championship this season. Charles, it's been you've obviously been here for the majority of it. I'm brand new, so you're gonna have to keep me up to date with who's who and what's what, but it seems like and sounds like it's been a pretty good season so far.
Yeah, it really has, Matthew. And yeah, it's been there's been a very short list up at the top of the field. Obviously, we're on board here with Anthony Cuthbert, but it's been Russell Soto and a variety of others who have been up running toward the front of the pack during the season. But we've had a few surprises, and you know, this is as you said, a very fun course. It's a very technical circuit. So it's one of those that, as I was talking with our producer Josh before the event, you know, this is one of those that you really have to put some laps down to really get the feel for how the car behaves and the rhythm. So it's going to be a fun race to watch tonight. There'll be a few mistakes out there, but I'm sure there'll be lots and lots of battles throughout the course of this race tonight.
And with qualifying come to an end, it is Russell Soto who has taken that pole position at the moment by some 0.04 of a second quicker than Zohair Ahmed in second place as they line up, as they go through this 10-minute warm-up period, a period of the night, or the evening, should I say, where the drivers just get a chance to cool down, make sure their setups are ready, make sure they're prepared for this race. I believe, Charles, that we can have a few words from our sponsors.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, we'll talk about our sponsors. First and foremost, the Detroit Region SCCA has been providing motorsports events since 1948. With over 1,400 members, there's no shortage of knowledge, history, and trailblazing ideas like this Sim League. Thank you to the participants and spectators for being part of the augmentation and evolution of the region. The DRSCCA, of course, goes beyond the virtual realm in 2024. They're hosting over 40 events over the course of 60 days that you can get behind the wheel of your car or so close to it that will blow your hair back. which for me is there's not anything to blow back, but that's another story. The gamut of behind the wheel events include road racing, road rally, rallycross, autocross, and a competition driving school. Support the Detroit Grand Prix. Support for the Detroit Grand Prix, Formula SAE, and Street Survival are also amazing opportunities to help sculpt future and professional drivers. Check out DRSCCA.org for more information. We also want to take time to thank our other sponsors. Of course, this league would not be possible without support of the DRSCCA. Additionally, Waterford Hills Road Racing, Metro Detroit's only permanent sanctioned road course. Waterford Hills, located in Clarkston, Michigan, hosts a 6-weekend race series, competition driving school, and 9 public open track days. The track is hot from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. on those event days and is open to the public. Nominal $5 entry fee is all it takes to get you close to the action. Check out waterfordhills.com for details. Also, thanks to Michigan Turn Marshals for their support. As well, if you want to get close to the action, be sure to check out michiganturnmarshals.org, and they'll get you very close to the action. They can train you to support races like the Detroit Grand Prix. And then finally, once again, the Superlap organization, who has always put drivers in this event, located in the world-renowned Woodward Avenue, Berkeley, Michigan. Superlap is a sim drive studio, a space to meet and compete with professional grade racing simulators. They are premier racing and driving experience venue. They'll help you achieve your motorsports goals with education, practice, and training. Maybe you're familiar with the world's most famous international Formula One series. Well, their best driver is a proponent of sim training and racing. If Max Verstappen uses a sim, why shouldn't you? You can race and practice against an AI roster, go head-to-head with other humans, or both. They also offer league play like the DRSCCA League. Go to superlap.world for details. And so thanks to all of our sponsors and people who get this put on the air week in and week out. And so thanks to DRSCCA again, Superlap, Waterford Hills, and the Michigan Turn Marshals.
Indeed. Thank you to all the sponsors who do help out run this organisation and this event. It's looks like it's going to be a great event to be a part of. Just looking at the category of cars here in this GT4 class, Porsches, Mercedes-Benz, BMWs, McLarens, all 4 manufacturers being represented. A lot of Mercedes-Benz AMGs out there tonight. It's absolutely interesting. Field, we've got some face cameras as well, some live camera action of the drivers in their simulators. You see there, here is Eric Holzband driving in the Porsche, the 255 Porsche for HP Racing. And it's great to see I enjoy seeing the faces behind the cameras, because you get to see a real look at the concentration on the drivers' faces, the reactions as well. I've seen a lot of reactions on cameras before, and capturing them can be so unique.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't think we've managed to catch somebody mid-crash yet, but you never can tell. Tonight may be the night, and we may see wheels flying and monitors being punched, or we may see the thrill of victory, may capture somebody on camera getting a class or an overall win. So, hey, we'll look forward to it, but it is always cool to watch the racers in full concentration mode trying to get their cars around this circuit. And you mentioned lots and lots of Mercedes. I think if I were a betting man, which I am, but not for this, I would probably venture to say Porsches is probably going to be your best bet tonight. I just think that the cars just kind of move a little side to side a little better than the Mercedes do. But Mercedes, obviously, lots of power on the front of that car, so they'll be able to make up quite a bit of time down the straightaways. But yeah, I'm kind of looking at Porsche maybe the odds-on favorite tonight.
Yeah, I'm just looking at a track layout on Google here, and I tell you what, looking at these some of these corners around this circuit, I see why you're saying Porsche. A lot of change of direction needed. The Porsche, we know, really good at that. Like you say, the Mercedes-Benz, good on the front end, a lot of power. Yep. Sometimes can struggle just to get that nose to point in the right direction where you want it to. A little heavy on that front end, and that's where the Porsches could capitalise here tonight. And I just wanted to point out, we just saw Little on the cameras there. He's using a Logitech G29. I upgraded from a Logitech G29 a couple of years ago, but what a steering wheel that is. We see all these sim races nowadays with their Moses, their Sim Magic, Sim, whatever they've got. Apologies, sorry, someone's just walked in the room 2 seconds.
Yep, no worries. No, we'll if we can get back toward the start finish line, we might do an onboard lap here and just walk through this course. That's kind of giving some asking Josh if he can find us. All right, so we're on board here with the same cross. All right, yeah, here we come. You saw pit entry there. We'll talk about that in a moment. As we get down the front straight here at the start finish line, nice run down about 500 meters or so. Then you're going to wide open turn one, but very tricky. As you see, it's got curbing on the inside that separates the racing line from the pit exit. And then once you get through there, it's a shot down here into turn two called the keyhole. Very open, very, very tight, very 180 degree corner with a little downhill elevation change. Down the long straightaway here, this is turn three, the little small kink. It's going to be flat for these cars as we head down to one of the heavy braking zones of the track. This is China Beach. Turn four, very, very sharp inside right-hander. Then we move up the hill a little bit over turn five and then down into turn six. And this is the S's section, and it carries on. We'll get a little short run here, and then we'll come over this crest again. Very, very difficult, this corner, especially when the car gets light. It's hard to get that car to turn and slow down a little bit if you need to. As we will head down into Thunder Valley, great run uphill, changing directions a couple of times, and we move into the carousel, which is the final couple corners. Very tricky. We don't have a pit stop tonight, but if you have anybody with damage, you may see them dive down pit road, which is on the outside line there of the carousel, and then a very sharp turn 13 and back to the start finish line. So it's a very, very short lap, but very technical course that you're going to have to deal with for this 30-minute race.
Yeah, it looks it indeed, and just apologies there. It looks like my eldest was sleepwalking and asked.
Hey, no worries.
Where mum had gone. So apologies on that one there. But yeah, very tricky course to say the least, and it's going to be a fascinating race tonight. 2 minutes after this warm-up, we've seen Soto take the lead by a couple of tenths of a second. Here is Holzband as well, driving in that Porsche P6 overall at this moment, and a lot of different categories. I'm noticing on the timing screens here a lot of different category licenses, which is always fun to see. Some of the rookie licenses do a little well and be up the order, just proving that it doesn't matter what license you've got, the pace can be there in these drivers. Here is Andrew Little racing on that G29, as we were saying. What a steering wheel that is! All the people with the great gear, and here he is, Logitech G29. That's fantastic, coming through, shirt on, cap on. Just looks dead casual. I'm loving that tonight, to be fair. He's P7 at the moment. He's currently just 1.8 off the pace at the moment. And I'm sure Andrew's going to put on a great display for us. Running in the 33 Mercedes. So it's going to be an interesting one to see what he can do. Where's the McLaren's? Not seeing any out on track at the moment. Only a couple of Mercedes qualifiers. A McLaren P9, Mike Schmidt. Here's Anthony Cuthbert, P5 overall. Here is Schmidt in the McLaren. Interesting little car.
Yeah, for sure.
Not too bad. Out of the four, Charles, what would you kind of be going for tonight?
I would probably say I would want to do the Porsche. I think I'm probably a better driver of the Mercedes. I just think the Porsche just suits the track better. A lot of these guys are running the same car for the entire season, so they're not switching in and out. They said, you know what, we're going to run with the car that we're comfortable with, which is a great strategy. Once you get a feel for a car, it's just always much easier to just stick with it for the season as opposed to switching in and out based on track demands. If these guys were going to, something like Spa or Le Mans, one of those big draft tracks, obviously I think the Mercedes would have a decided advantage. But for a little course like this, McLaren's I think should do pretty well. I don't think there's enough volume in the field to have them up toward the front. So I think it's going to be Porsches. But looking at practice, top five, all Mercedes.
Yeah, and if we're looking at the grid order at the moment, I believe that's what the time screen's just changed to. The top three are Mercedes, 3 Porsches, another 4 Mercedes-Benz. The first car that's not Mercedes or Porsche is P15 of Trenton McMillan in a BMW. Then the first McLaren is Matt Malone in 18th place. So it's an interesting grid set at the moment. Obviously, final 2 races of the season. We are here today, and then next time out we are at Road America, beautiful American circuit, one of the one of the top 3 American circuits. The grid order is Russell Soto in P1, Zahir Ahmed will be P2, Tristan Rogers from Reuter, I do believe, in P4, Eric Kolsman P5, Sean Gaynor in P6, Ryan Goff from Andrew Herschel, Lincoln Osland from Don Batts, then it's Sean Fritz and Jay Lasco rounding out the top 12.
Yep, and starting up in P13, we've got David Marino, Eric Christensen on outside of row 7, Trent McMillian in 15th, Zane Cross 16th, Stephen Kahn 17th, Matt Malone 18th, Richard Shaib in 19th, Anthony Cuthbert in 20th, Alex Reuter in 21st, Arush Kumar in 22nd, Corey Smith 23rd, Mike Smith in 24th.
And then it's Cody Hicks, P25, Alan Robson 26th, Jackson Olsen in 27th, Abdul Huda in 28th, Ahmed Baydun in 29th, Andrew Little P30, Lewis Bellotta P31, Hazim Zindin is 32nd, Dustin Drake from Drake Gundrinsky is P34, and Alex Lawson P35.
Yep, absolutely. It looks like that. I'm looking at the time of score. Looks like that David Grzinski did not take the start. He may be in the pits waiting to do a pit start for the race, but he's not on the track right now. And I will mention that we had Sean Gaynor in P6. That is the fastest of our AM class. So he'll be starting in P6. It had a pretty decided advantage from what I remember going through the grid over his second place rival in the amateur division. So we'll be keeping an eye on that as well as they are moving through on their pace lap, trying to get some heat in those tires, getting those as much heat in them as they can, because this first turn 1 is going to be very, very tricky. It's a pretty open corner, but once again, you've got that curb on the inside that you can use to your advantage. However, you have to be very careful with it. It will sometimes chew you up and spit you out. So you have to be very careful, especially on cold tires and cold brakes. So they'll be should be pretty tentative on the first lap, but then we should get moving in very short order.
We've even got the VR headsets on the go here. Look, with Reuter at the moment, P4 VR headset on the go. We've got it all tonight. And just going back to your AM category comment there, look, Sean Gaynor, P6 at the moment. His next closest rival in terms of class is Eric Christensen down in 14th place. So a great gulf between P1 and P2 in that AM category. Well done to Gaynor for being so far up the order as the safety car pulls into pit lane, or the pace car pulls into pit lane, as I know you guys across the pond like to say. And we all go here at round 5, and it's, I'll tell you what, the guy on the second row at the start there is trying to get a great jump down it towards turn 1. Like you say, you can use the curb, and there's a couple of Mercedes and Porsches in the gravel trap and in the grass. It's excuse me, it's absolute chaos at turn 1 here, and there's a handful of cars that are just stationary at the minute off the road, and I can't tell you who is who, but what I can tell you is Russell Soto does lead the way from Ryan Goff, Lincoln Olsen. Sean Gaynor moved up to P4, and the closest rival that was about 6 or 7 places behind Gaynor is now P8, 4 cars in between them. So he's had an absolute monstrous start, and there is bombers all over us. More Mercedes-Benz losing the rear end.
Yeah, it's you can just tell these Mercedes just do not like the cold tires. You have to be very careful with them. Obviously, struggling a little bit trying to get around these corners. Yeah, Soto managed to clear that big instant, I think, and it was P2 and P3. They got into it. We were 3 wide going into turn 1, and I didn't think that was ever going to work, and sure enough, it did not.
It did not at all, as we're watching Goff here on the back of Soto at the moment. 3 Mercedes-Benz in that Pro class, leading the way so far. There is 1, 2 and 3. Bit of a gap back down to Gaynor, who's currently P4 overall and leading the amateur class at the moment. But Ryan Goff can go nice and steady, as you can just see how difficult conditions are at the moment with tyres and brakes. Not fully up to temperature just yet. And it is so tight and tricky in that final corner, as you see there, Olsen dropping a couple of wheels onto the grass. This is Zane Cross down in 17th place, putting the pressure on one of the McLarens then, of that of Kumar, who has moved up to 16th place, 6 places gained, but you wonder how many of that was at the start line. Back into turn 1, there you go. And you can just see that curb. It's very bumpy through turn 1, isn't it, off the curb, and that can unsettle a few cars. I don't think the dramas are going to stop here.
No, I don't think so either. It looks like that everybody's really racing tonight, which is good. We like the competition, but yeah, it's you could just tell that there were some cars that are still struggling just a little bit. as we see a McLaren battle here coming down the straightaway, heading down into China Beach. The 46 car of Arush Kumar, along with on board with Cody Hicks, as we're working our way down into China Beach. And that run up the hills, we saw a little blink there. We run up the hill. Ooh, and there's a contact. Yeah. I think that the 46 car broke just a little bit earlier than Kumar was expecting. Contact made, and Cody Hicks goes around. Very sorry about that.
He does indeed. Is on board with Ahmed now, down in 19th place. He's going side by side in this middle sector. And look at this track. What a circuit. It's left, right, all over the place. Also up and down the hills you go. It's a really tricky circuit to get right here. And these GT4s, no tyre blankets on the GT4s, I do believe, so they've got to really get them tyres up to temperature, and that's a good move up the inside, but now going to be the outside as they come into the right-hand corner, and Ahmed here cannot get the move done on the McLaren. Has he? He will have now, because he comes into that turn 13, up over the curb, and through he goes down the start line, and that's a good little bit of racing between the McLaren and the Mercedes driver there. And that is nicely done, but it's Soto who's starting to pull a gap out front, on with Corey Smith, the BMW, 16th place at the moment. And further forward, here's Jay Lasco, one of the camera cars that we can see running in a train of cars at the moment, all being led by that green Mercedes at the front, and Jay Lasco trying to do the business. Here's Trenton McMillan in that BMW, under pressure from the 18 Mercedes-Benz just behind him of Don Batts, as they go side by side into the right-hander, and Batts tries to get the up and under, just clips the bumper, maybe just at least sniffing the exhaust pipe as he comes through. Can't get a run there, Charles, and it's very tight and twisty in this midfield.
Yeah, it really is, and I would hate to be. I know Trenton runs this BMW religiously, but I'd hate to be in that car on this track. It just seems like the least favorable car of the group. And now, with saying that, there's no Aston Martins out there, so that may tell you something about them. But McMillan and the man he was battling with there a moment ago, Don Batts, have both had good runs during the course of the season, but it's been kind of up and down for those. So it's good to see them working their way forward, and that was a nice little battle between those two cars.
I love the fact that says oops on the side of it, and that's what the start was, really, wasn't it? A bit of an oops at the start of this race. As we're still watching that BMW come over. Here's Don Batts, and in that Mercedes, and it is two in front, two behind. They're all kind of following each other through at the moment. What I like about it is you've seen drivers take different lines through this circuit, though. Here's Russell Soto currently leading the race, fastest lap of the race on that last lap with a 1:27.4. He's gotten just about 8.5 tenths of a second over that of Ryan Goff, who is just starting to fall away slowly, but Soto in control at the moment, and the bonus for him now with 25 minutes left on the clock is he can just control this race. He can run it how he wants to run it and just feel that flow.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Russell is one of our perennial front runners, Formula 4 driver in real life, so he's quite capable behind the wheel of anything, it seems. But Goff's doing a pretty good job of trying to match the pace with him as best he can. Olsen as well, and then you see the big gap back to P4 Marino. That's all the cars that kind of behind that turn one adventure we had on the first lap. They just kind of got checked up, so now they're just kind of sitting back there, but running in a train. So this is going to be battles that are going to keep shaping up during the course of the next 20 minutes or so.
Well, I'm loving some of these decals on that car. Sean Gaynor there. I don't know if he's trying to blind his opponents by having the car shining. But that is a spectacular livery on that Porsche. That has to be said. He's coming under pressure from McMillan in the BMW. Still got Batts behind him, and then it's Christensen in the second of the AM cars. Obviously, Gaynor leading in that AM category. We're on board looking back at McMillan and Batts. Batts on the outside in that Mercedes-Benz. No move done there, and it's kind of follow the leader at the moment. Drivers having a look here, Charles, here, there, and everywhere, but not really able to make a run. And I suppose just looking at this track for the first time, you've really got to get alongside your opposition to make that move stick. It's no good making a lunge. I say that as the Porsche then thinks I'm going to lunge right up the inside and go side by side. That is Jay Lasco in the Porsche there, who had a good lunge up the inside. So maybe that's the place you can have a lunge. Schmidt's saying he's out and back on, so that must be a bit of connection.
Yeah, that is one of the 2 or 3 spots that a passing is going to be available to you. That heartbreaking point zone going down into China Beach, going down to the keyhole turn 2 as well. That hairpin, downhill hairpin that leads up to that straightaway for China Beach. Those are the 2 big ones. Otherwise, it's going to be, if the car in front of you makes a mistake, you're going to have to be able to capitalize on it in short order. Otherwise, this is a very tight track for these GT4 cars. Josh and I have both been involved in other series that run here, and it's just fantastic side-by-side racing for the entire race. Not so much for these. You're going to have to, like I said, you either have to have the person in front make a mistake, or you force a mistake, just force them to drive over their head. Otherwise, you got to get a good run out of this corner right here to get down the straightaway and make that lunge to the inside.
And the problem is everybody in a little slipstream train at the moment, aren't they? Nobody can take the advantage, because it is one by one as they come down this straight here in towards the heavy braking zone at the bottom of the circuit, and just a good enough gap between each car that it's not close enough for anybody to make a real move. Gain is caught back up to Moreno here in this lovely green Mercedes-Benz out in P4, and you can really see the gulfing class at the moment between the top 3 and then 4th downwards, because 4th downwards having a great fight. Bit of follow the leader, but still a good battle. The top 3 have really broken away. It's 4 seconds between 3rd to 4th. It's only 4 seconds between the top 3, and Soto has already pulled nearly 2 seconds over Goff, so he's now started to put the hammer down. This is side-by-side action between Cuthbert and that of Christensen. This could put another car between Christensen and Gaynor, and does put another car between Christensen and Gaynor. Nearly contact there at the penultimate corner. How they didn't come together, I don't know. But Cuthbert making the move on Christensen as they come down the start straight once again, and this is where a lot of drivers at turn 1 got caught out. Look at that curb there, just nicely placed to split the pit lane and turn 1. And that is it's not a flat curb neither, is it? It's a bit of a bump to that, and that's where drivers are going to lose it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's not a flat curb. You just kind of get on it and ride a little bit, and it does help get the car rotate through that corner. You can actually make the car rotate better through there if you do it right. But it's just such a tricky business to try and get it right every time.
I think the BMW are probably going to be the best car at straddling over that curb and getting it done. This is Reuter at the moment, down in P12. Got Ahmed on the rear, coming through the pack at the moment. Ahmed going to look up the inside at the bottom end of the circuit. He'll be on the outside for the next part. Reuter a little wide to allow Ahmed to get through, and does with ease. Good move, that good clean racing this as well. It's some lovely moves being put on, and I tell you what, really good close action. This is what the GT4s bring you. They bring you good close racing, almost a touring car-esque kind of category style of racing here. They're small, powerful, but really good really good action. I believe we can take a look at the lap 1 crash as Ahmed here looking to make moves on cross. So let's see what happens. This is turn 1. Look at the start from the second row. I believe that's Rogers, who got an absolute almighty start, pulls up the inside, and there we go. Just contact. It was the one on the outside, turned in on the one on the inside, and around both of them went, and it just kind of domino effect, really, wasn't it? It caught everybody out. Here we go. This is with Rogers' helicopter camera. This will give us a real good shot, Charles.
Yeah, absolutely. And the Soto in the middle, the current race leader, and he basically just lifts a little bit, and both those guys had the same idea: get to the middle of the track in front of Soto, and they collided with each other and spun them both off, and was able to allow Soto to get out front and start stretching his gap very, very early in the race.
Altered like the Red Sea. Everybody did there for Soto. Straight through the middle, and here is Tristan Rogers down in 28th place. We have lost 2 drivers down the back end of the circuit, but Rogers now makes up another place. Going to be very interesting to see this guy's pace in this one. I think, see where he can come from. Obviously, maybe carrying a little bit of damage, but where can he make up time today? Just going to look at the timing screen. Lapping 28.1 seems to be his average lap times at the moment. That'd be good enough for around P4 on the pace of the front 3 at the moment. So work to do. Here is Reuter in the P15 at the moment. Car 17 of Stephen Conn in the green and gold Porsche there, coming through the Esters at the moment, the left and right section. And you're right, the Porsches here just look like they've got such a good change of direction, and that's where the other cars seem like they feel it. And the Porsche looks like it's doing it with ease.
Yeah, it does. But I was just really remarking as we were on board earlier before we went to the replay with Zohar Ahmad. He made some really good moves in that Mercedes, and it just looked like the rear of that car. He's got it figured out. That car was planted going around turn 5 as we see a car off and rejoining. That's the oops car. So I can't remember the driver's name, but obviously it was one that was running up front. Is that Sean? It's not Sean Gaynor. No, was that Sean Gaynor?
No, it's Don Batts.
Don Batts. Okay,
Don Batts.
Yeah, there we go. Don Batts I think he was battling with Gaynor or thereabouts earlier. But yeah, just see, we get a replay here as we're coming through turn 1.
Yeah, let's see what's going to happen through turn 1. Bounce on the curb. Car goes light, has a wiggle, has a moment on the grass, and oops.
And finds a little jump there.
Yeah.
That's a little alternate layout chicane. And obviously you could see that the track and the surrounding grass not level there, and just sent the car, launched it in the air. And that's obviously going to
not to land and slide into somebody there. He's done very well to avoid everybody. Cost himself very little damage. Oh, and that's what happened to Gaynor. Got a tag from the BMW. That was the 32 car of Trenton McMillan who tagged Gaynor. And then what's happened to McMillan's? This is further on. Nothing there has happened. We'll go back to the live. Oh no, this is back on board with Dats again. This is his footage. So he just turns into turn 1. Look, he's just going to clip the curb. Rear end then comes light as it comes off the curb. Catches a slide. Airborne he goes, and as it lands, it's not wanting to comply as it lands there. But the 18 car, well, he's got to go again and try and gain up that pace. But Gaynor there then losing the lead in AM and has actually dropped down to P20 overall, and he's P4 in the AM class now behind Corey Smith, that of Alexander Reuter and Eric Christensen. So Christensen leading in the AM class now. This is down with Mike Schmidt in that 129 McLaren. The leading McLaren, by the way, is P8, and the BMW P6 of McMillan. It's all Mercedes. Porsche are actually down to P12. So as much as we said that Porsche may be good around this track, first one P12. So just goes to show, just because the car's suited here doesn't mean it's always going to work out that way.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you're exactly right. I think that these Mercedes drivers said, no, I think we'll be all right for tonight. So they're having a really good run. Obviously, as you see the top 5, and then a BMW, another Mercedes, and then the McLaren in 8th. So, Reuters got to keep moving forward. That's Ari in the Porsche, Alex in the Mercedes directly in front of him. So the brothers are running P11 and P12 on track, with the Am brother of Alex in front of his pro brother. Ari behind. So very interesting little family battle there, and I'm sure that if Alex wins, he'll be able to gloat a little bit.
Damn right. But I'm sure the one thing they won't want to do is take each other out, because that would be an awkward dinner conversation around the dinner. If them come together, then this is Richard down in P8 at the moment in that blue and white McLaren, currently fending off Cross and Ahmed in the Mercedes-Benz behind. Ahmed on a bit of a move here. In this race, he's down 8 places. That was because of the start. He's made some overtakes though that we've seen in this race, and he's flying. I mean, look at Cuthbert up 15 places in this race so far. As the McLaren makes a little mistake there, that allows Cross up the inside. Ahmed might fancy following through there. Too wide still. The Mercedes now tucks underneath the McLaren through the right-hander, through the next right-hander it goes, and Ahmed not quite fully done yet. That McLaren still just got a nose on the outside of the Mercedes-Benz. In towards this section now, and it's the McLaren back up the inside. They do very well not to make contact there, and now Ahmed gets the move done around the outside into the penultimate corner, and that one has been put to bed. So Ahmed up another place here. He's really on a charge in this one at the moment.
He is. Yeah, he really is. That's just some great driving by him. He just followed the leader through, got that McLaren offline, was able to take the fast line through a couple of those corners, get side by side, and able to hang it out on the outside around that McLaren on the first part of the carousel, and continued it on, made the pass, made it stick, and is looking forward to see if he can go get across at this point.
Yeah, we're just seeing there the brothers have swapped places, so no dramas there. Everybody's through nice and safely. One in a Porsche, one in a Mercedes, and it's the pro brother of how did you pronounce his first name?
Ari Reuter, or yeah. I think we've settled on Reuter or Reuter.
No, was that off? That was Richard who's gone off. He's tumbling down the order here. That looked like a strange one over the crest of the hill. He just went straight on. He did not turn at all. Did that McLaren. He's now in a tricky situation where he's got to rejoin. Now he's able to do so. And he's dropped all the way down to P20 there. So, yeah, not a shame for the pro driver there. But down he goes once more. And this is what happened to him on the replay. Look at this. He's come over the crest of the hill and it just did not want to turn. So this is turn 1.
Yep.
In he goes, just going to bounce over the curb, no problem there. Runs it out wide, little dirt on the tyres, but that's not going to be a problem either. And then we come up towards turn 2 on the brakes, and car turns in fine, late apex, absolutely nothing wrong with that. Now we've got down the back straight. Yep. It's such an unlevel circuit. Let's look even down the back straight. It's still up and down, up and down. It's not a flat surface around here.
No, it's really not. We're getting here to the braking zone, and just I think it's a little too late in the brakes, and yeah, just takes it off into the gravel trap, and that gravel trap is there for a reason. If you're an IndyCar fan, that would be the Pagano line through that gravel trap. Of course, his was a little more difficult with it being head over tail into the barrier. So yeah, just missed the braking point a little bit. Obviously, just there's luckily the gravel trap's there to stop the car, and but lost quite a bit of time, so he's gonna have to make that up.
It's so easy done, isn't it, when following another car, when you've had some clear track in front of you, just to miss your braking point by that slightest amount of a margin. We're into the 19th minute now, so there's just under 11 minutes left in this race, and Don Batts is trying to come back through the field. He's on the back of Schmidt at the moment in the McLaren. He's got ahead of Con and Smith up into 13th place so far, and yeah, he's got to come back here because he was running in a good position, wasn't he, Batts, until that moment where he was airborne. Here is Corey Smith. There's a lot of love for Corey Smith I'm seeing in the YouTube chat at the moment, up the inside of the BMW at the final corner, gives him room at the penultimate corner. Sorry, no, it's Corey Smith who's just lost out to the Porsche there of Lasco, so Corey Smith just dropping down a place, but still third in the AM category, so can still be pretty pleased with himself in this one.
Yeah, having a good run, still running in the mid pack. He's actually in the upper half, P16, having a good drive in that Chips Ahoy BMW. Always love nice sponsorship. That there's no way he's got a sponsorship from Nabisco. But that being said, he's got the Cookie Monster on the hood of the car, so we're happy about that.
We are indeed. He comes down this back straight now. He's on the rear end of the 44 Porsche just ahead of him, and that is Jay Lasco, as we said, coming through the right-hander, back uphill again, very tight. It's what I've noticed as well with this track, Charles, is you can't really take a normal line where you'd sort of go to the left or the right hand side of the circuit, open up the corner as wide as possible. Some of these corners, one after another, so you've got to really make sure you're fully focused and switched on. Around here as Lasco drops 2 wheels on the grass in the braking zone, and that's what happens. Onto the gravel he goes, and what a shame we didn't have the camera on as he lost the rear there. That would have been exciting to see a reaction, but yeah, there you go, bit of a reaction there, bit of a head bob, and I'm sure a word or two that we're not going to repeat on air, but Lasco there, and his own fault really, dropped them two wheels on the grass, hit the brakes, and car said nope.
Yep. Yeah. You were just explaining the way you have to drive this track, and as you can see, as he was coming back on, all the marbles already building up on the outside of that corner. So if you're offline, once you come over that little ridge there, you're trying to stay as far to that inside as you can on the right. And then if you're off that line, then you're out. As we see here, he's not on there, and just carries too much speed through onto the curb, and then around the rear goes. Obviously, just a little too far outside as he was entering that corner, going into Thunder Valley, and now he's got work to do with only about 8 minutes or so left in this race.
Batts and Schmidt have just tumbled down the order as well, so I'm not sure what's happened to the Ups car once again, but here is Anthony Cuthbert on the back of Moreno there, just driving a little wide, kicking a bit of grass up at the moment. There is Cuthbert and Moreno really going at it. The BMW of McMillan on the back of him, and look at this Mercedes of Cuthbert then, really trying to push Moreno very, very hard through this section of tricky corners then, and David Moreno, who is top 4, best of the rest at the moment, you have to say. He's got a train of cars coming up behind him. One of them is the AM leader, in the pink car in the background of Christensen, who would love to gain a few more places in this race, that's for sure. Backmarker there coming out the pit lane. He stays to the inside line to allow these guys to come through and put the lap on him. But Moreno under all sorts of pressure here with 7.5 to go.
Yeah, absolutely. As you're passing Zane Cross, who's going to lap down, obviously was running up in the top 10 there for a while, and something has happened, and we might get a replay here and see if we can see what's going on. Is we're on board here with Corey Smith. Oh, Porsche coming to the inside, the 23 car. Just a little bit too much curb on the inside, maybe kicked him around. I saw a car off there as well, and not see who that was. And then we're going to get another replay here. It's going to be Schmidt.
This is what happened to Batts with Schmidt, and up through, down the hill, tight. Oh,
That's like the cars got stuck together. That may be a little iracing magnetism there.
Yeah, I don't even think Batts touched Schmidt there, but then all of a sudden it's like he's got the tow rope attached and Batts is being pulled into the grass with him to free up. Oh no, he did tap him, so there is a little tap, and yeah, follow me.
Yeah,
there we go. Take this route.
Strange. Yep. So strange.
Well, that's racing for you. And while we've missed all that, can we just point out Moreno's down to P6, Cuthbert's up to 4th, and McMillan's P5. So there's been a complete switcheroo here out there on the track at the moment, and Moreno definitely suffering a bit of connection problem there. He just disappeared a little bit on my end, so he is struggling a little bit at the moment. Soto 10 seconds clear of Goff now. He is absolutely checked out with 6 minutes left in this race. And yeah, some interesting racing there. What I loved about that first replay we saw, the Porsche seemed to go light on the rear as he come through turn 2, hit the BMW. The BMW didn't move. The Porsche just, like a tank almost. That BMW just stayed exactly where he was. And this is what happened to Moreno. This is McMillan then, who was down in P6, I believe it was. Oh, back markers in the way. And as they come through, look at that. Oh, there we go. The back markers both wide, and that allows the 2 leaders past Moreno. And the back markers had to stay wide. Hopefully we can get that shot on Moreno's car, but traffic there playing a part. Here we go. Hopefully we can see it. This is Moreno, currently P4 at this stage of the race. He comes through, gains on the some lap traffic, who just are fighting each other. And well, actually, Moreno kind of goes deep into them.
Yeah, he kind of did. I think they just misjudged the speed of the cars in front. Obviously you saw the lunge by the yellow car to get in the front of those that group of lap traffic here as we're back on board with Moreno again. See the student driver livery there. Makes a dive to the inside around to go, and then all of a sudden, it just looks like maybe Moreno's front end pushed out, maybe carrying too much speed. And then the Mercedes of the other car tries to turn in, and just basically kind of blocks him off and allows those cars, McMillan and Cuthbert, to just work their way around and pick up that spot.
Yeah, interesting one there from Moreno, who just goes a little bit deep. Here's Stephen Conn up into P12 at the moment. He's on the back of Fritz in that P11 car, who had a moment at his corner a couple of laps ago, and he manages to negotiate it pretty perfect this time around. The 23 Porsche leading from the Porsche behind him for P11 and 12, coming into the last 4 minutes of this race. Pretty easy for the top 3 on the podium today overall, because Soto, Goff and Olsen have had it their own way, although Soto may have just had a scary moment lap 1. If you remember, the 2 cars went around the outside. He's definitely scraped something there. That bodywork looks like he's had a bit of a scrape on the outside, but Soto, he's been in control, hasn't he?
Yeah, he really has, and it's I think part of it was he got a little bit luck there, I think, as well as some heads-up driving by Russell. Obviously, as we talked about, very, very good driver. He's always up toward the front of the field when he's involved in the race. Doesn't always win, but he's always up there. Yeah, once we got through that lap one, turn one scare, then he basically just set sail, and clean air was king for him.
It's also been kind of easy, if you will, for Ryan Goff second place and for Lincoln Olsen in third place, because they was close with each other them first couple of laps, as you are when a race starts. Apart from that, they've not really been under pressure from each other. They've had no pressure from behind. Been a smooth sailing for all three of the podium finishes today.
Yeah, I would say if we get a chance to interview any of them, they'll probably say, oh, this was kind of a boring race, because they really haven't done a lot of racing. They've had to navigate a little bit of lap traffic here in the last couple of minutes, but otherwise it's been pretty much drive by yourself and just run hot laps.
Sometimes those races, though, are trickier than being in the middle of a fight. While you're in the middle of a battle, you're fully concentrated, fully focused on what you're doing. When you're out front like this, it's so easy to just switch off, and that's where the mistakes creep in. Thankfully, the top three haven't made them mistakes. This is Eric Christensen, the leader in the AM category, 7th place overall, trying to gain on the back of Moreno. Lapped car in front, who is not really moving out the way at the moment. In front, though, is Moreno, McMillan and Cuthbert, still fighting hard for that P4. As there's a lot of changes for position down the order. Holzbund is dropping down to 21st, and Gaynor's back up to 15th. Only a one car between Gaynor and Smith for that final AM podium. It's going to be an interesting one to keep our eyes on with 2 minutes left. Gaynor's, 10 seconds actually, maybe not, unless barring a mistake out there on the road.
He's made a good run. He's actually made up several seconds on the track, but just obviously with that incident, just too far behind to make up any significant time in order to make up a few positions, but running 15th, and so he's obviously not where he was when he started. Obviously had that incident, but has had a pretty decent drive back up through the field.
And I suppose for the AM drivers as well, it's always interesting racing against these pro guys. Just a bit more experience, a bit more of a feel against the pro category, the bigger category, if you will, or the bigger in class category, should we say. It's always a nice feel when you're racing these guys side by side, racing them hard. It's a learning curve.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, I completely agree with that. Is one of the good things about this is we've got, as you've seen the rookies out there on the track, that may be some of those drivers that are at the Superlap Center that are competing in their little land session, as well as with all these guys from all over the place that are in that Michigan region. So they're all getting on track experience racing against some people that are right there with them, and some people that are at their homes, running their G29s, which is a great starter wheel. I mean, there's really no can't really compare it to anything else. It's been a fun race, and it's fun to watch the AMs and the pros mix it up, when they're gridded together. So it's you get out there and you qualify on your own merits, and you race as hard as you can.
And the GT4 is a great little class to learn as well, and a great little class to really race. We're on the white flag lap though, and Russell Soto is coming round to take the checkered at this stage of it. He is P1. He's got a couple of corners left to go, and for Russell Soto, great victory for him today. It's a great display of what he can do, and racing in a Formula 4 series in the real world. We wish him the best of luck for the upcoming season that's about to start ahead of him, and it's going to be a fantastic time to see what he can do. But Russell Soto then into the final couple of corners now. Absolute dominant display here. He wins at Mid-Ohio. Goff will take second place when he comes to the line, some 15 seconds back. He's got them final couple of corners to complete as well. But Ryan Goff will take that second place. Good result. I'm sure he'll be pleased with that one. You've got Olsen just behind him, who's going to take P3. And they are your three podium finishes in the pro category and overall. Cuthbert manages to hold off from McMillan. Moreno down in 6th place. Christensen will take your AM win. Ruta there in P8. Ahmed P9. Good comeback through the field for Ahmed there. Here's Alexander, then the AM brother. Second place on the podium in the AM category. Good stuff for him. Fritz P11, Con P12. Smith will take P3 in AM as well. So that rounds out your two podiums there.
Yeah, absolutely. Great race. It was, it was everything you kind of expected, except I was expecting a little better performance out of the Porsches. But maybe as we were, as we watched the race unfold, maybe the elevation changes was a little much for the Porsches to be able to handle. Maybe it kind of threw them off their game a little bit. And it was the Mercedes that were able to just plant their cars through the corners and had a successful run.
It did seem as the race went on, Porsche seemed to go lighter over the brows of the hills, and that seemed to maybe cause them a problem or two. It looks like we've got some drivers joining in for a quick chat. So we're going to bring Russell Soto in, the race winner overall today. Russell, race win today. It was a pretty smooth sailing race, but turn one, lap one could have caught you out quite easily.
Most definitely. It was really a tricky start. I did not expect for the green flag to be waved that early. I mean, we were just exiting the final corner, so really early caught me off guard. But yeah, once I saw that there was a guy coming into my inside and I saw that Zohair was past me on the outside, I was going to back off, and what happened. Really unfortunate to see.
Unfortunate to see, but a bit of good fortune going your way that you wasn't sort of collected in that incident.
That's correct, yeah.
Good race for yourself, though. You kind of, you was under pressure a little bit for the first couple of laps, and then it was get your head down, get the lap times in, and build that gap.
Absolutely. Once I saw that there was a gap to P2, I just kept my head down, controlled the pace, saved my tires. I was driving pretty comfortably out in front, keeping to about 27.4s, 27.3s every now and then, and that was enough to drive us home with the win. Really happy with that one.
And just talk us a bit about the Mercedes tonight, because we both said on comms here that we felt the Porsche may be the best car of choice here, but Mercedes podium locked it out with the Merc, and really a good car choice. But talk us through your perspective of that Mercedes-Benz, because it is a nice car. It's a fun little car to drive.
Absolutely. It's a really fun car to drive, but it's definitely a harder car to set up. I think there's more options to tweak with the Mercedes and the Porsche. I think it just came down to having more of the grid driving the Mercedes. I know from my end, I'm with an esport team that's an actual real-life IMSA team called Days Competition, and they run the Mercedes in real life. So we were going to run that, of course, in the sim racing.
Makes sense. Finally, really, we go to Road America next week, final race of the season. Anything you'd like to say about that one? What can you do around there?
Yeah, looking forward to Road America. I think definitely a low downforce setup is going to be the key there. It might be a draft fest, might not. I know in these cars, the last couple of rounds, the draft hasn't been that much of an effect. But yeah, keeping our head down, keeping a consistent pace, and making sure that the racecraft is there with the defense for Road America is going to be key, and I'll definitely be practicing that.
Yeah, I'm sure you will. Lastly, anybody you'd like to thank?
Absolutely. I'd love to first thank Days Competition. They're an IMSA team that races the Mercedes GT4 in real life, and I'm one of their esport drivers, so huge shout out to them, especially Fassel, the team owner. It was his birthday yesterday, so I hope this is a great birthday present. But yeah, my girlfriend Tiffany, who supports me all the time, my family, my friends and family from New Jersey and Michigan, the DRSCCA as well for being a great league that's put on, and Waterford Hills, as well as all the sponsors and Superlap for sure.
There we go. Thank you to Russell Soto there. Race winner overall today and in the pro class. Congratulations.
Thank you, Matthew.
And Charles, we've got Lincoln Olsen waiting as well. I'll let you take this one.
Yeah, let's bring it in here. Lincoln with a P3 night. Congratulations. A good run. Obviously, Russell just, top driver. Hard to keep up with him week in and week out. So I really want to get your perspective on that lap one, turn one. Obviously, you picked up 6 positions, so you benefited greatly from the skirmish there. So how were you seeing it as we started off the race tonight?
Yeah, I mean that was crazy. I didn't have a ton of practice going into today, and a little bit of rough qualifying, but it really worked out for me. That was crazy. I still haven't gotten to watch the replay yet, but crazy from my perspective.
Yeah, and I looked over and saw the replay myself. Yeah, you just skimmed through there on top of that curb on turn one and just barely made it through unaffected. So since you did get a lot of practice, where did you think that you may have been struggling a little bit for pace for those people out there that are watching that may not have driven this track before. So what do you feel like was your deficits as you were out there?
Sure. So, turn 2 is that really sharp right-hand turn into the straightaway. And I run this track in real life quite a lot, but we usually run the chicane for that corner.
Right.
So I just didn't have the pace, and that getting a good run onto that straight is pretty crucial.
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll dive off of that. So if you're running this in real life using the chicane, what car are you driving?
So I usually am in a Spec Miata, and I've also driven a Ford Focus there.
Oh, cool. Okay, yeah. So Spec Miata, obviously fantastic car. A little bit old school. You got to practice your blipping, obviously, or your downshifts in those cars. But yeah, those cars are really fun to watch on the track. I get a chance to watch the SCCA, on the weekends when they're out, and that's one of my favorite classes to watch. So Lincoln, we'll congratulate you again and let you give any thanks or shout outs you'd like to before we let you go.
Yeah, thank you so much. Of course, to my parents for paying for my sim rig and supporting me. They're always there. Grandparents, people watching Pennsylvania, Tennessee, big shout out to them. Capaldi Racing, great gear there, great online store. Waterford, of course, and you guys for doing the stream. Thank you, guys.
All right, thank you, Lincoln. Congratulations. We'll see you next week.
Yep, see ya.
And that was Lincoln Olsen there then, who was third place overall tonight. Great stuff from him in this one. And Charles, that wraps up the interviews, it looks like at the moment. There's nobody else sat waiting to go. What a night it's been here at Mid-Ohio Road America to end the championship next week. It's going to be a fascinating race around there. If this short little circuit was anything to go by, Road America is going to be an absolute blinder.
Yeah, absolutely. Road America, I would agree with you. Top 3 of American tracks, just a fantastic venue for racing. And yeah, completely different race than what we saw tonight. It's going to be wide open, draft packs, probably down those big long straightaways into some very, very tight corners. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to it.
A great race here for the DRSCCA Sim Series Winter 2025. That is round 5 wrapped up and in the bag. Round 6, Road Atlanta next week to finish this championship off, and what a series it has been. I've thoroughly enjoyed this first race tonight, and hopefully, and I will be back next week, Charles, I believe, with yourself for that one. Road America going to be provide some great action, like Charles says, and 2 really long straights to kick things off, and then the rest of the lap gets nice and juicy as well, because it's just beautiful around Road America. But that is it. Nobody really else coming in for a chat. Thank you to Joshua as well, who's been our producer for this evening. He's brought you all the camera angles, replays, and the fantastic shots. Thank you to all the drivers and participants out there on the circuit. Everybody in the stream and chat who has been there watching throughout the whole entire evening. What a race it's been. One more to go. Road America. We'll see you next time. Goodbye.
Are you struggling for consistency in your sim racing? Does your iRating look like a roller coaster? If so, we have good news for you. The way to get more consistent is to first understand what you're doing differently than the professionals. And VRS is the answer. With our competitive subscription, you will have the telemetry, setups, tutorials, and everything else you need to fully analyze your driving. Our data packs and the ability to compare your driving with the best in the world will show you exactly where to adjust your inputs, change your driving line, and shave seconds off of your lap times. And our powerful and precise Direct Force Pro wheelbase and precision pedals are being used by some of the world's best drivers. All these champions agree that VRS hardware is not just the best on the market, it's also priced well below the competition. So if you're looking to upgrade to direct drive and the best pedals in sim racing, VRS is your answer. If you want to get better, get faster, and make it happen sooner rather than later, you owe it to yourself to find out why so many people are switching to VRS. You'll be so glad that you did. Visit www.virtualracingschool.com and learn why the best use VRS.